Hi Saints, welcome back to Monday Mentor. As always, it's great to be with you. I'm in Southern California, enjoying our incredible sunshine and weather right now. It's a privilege to always a privilege to be with you on Monday Mentor. I'm gonna ask you to take a walk with me as I share my thought for you today. I've been doing a lot of thinking the last several years on a thought about perception, and I understand that there's a real reality that exists, but I've come to believe more and more in these last several years that the reality that governs my brain, my perception, is the reality that dictates the reality that's in the world. And so what I perceive to be real is the reality that then will govern everything that I do, and it will confirm and affirm everything that I believe. So 1 Samuel 15:17, Samuel says to King Saul, are you not the king of Israel? Why are you little in your own eyes? And of course, that perception of himself wreaked havoc in his kingdom, his kingship. So then there's Numbers 13:33, we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were to them. And so the perception I have of God, myself, then is portrayed or placed upon others in the world, and that dictates my and governs my reality, my moment, if you will. And so I've been practicing for years now this simple idea that I want to assume the best in people. I understand we're sinful and broken, and often our motives are selfish and governed by wrong intentionalities, but I want to assume the best in you and let you prove me wrong. And if I assume the best in you and I choose not to take things personally unless you make them personal to me, what it does for me is it frees me up to remain more objective rather than subjective, because if it becomes personal, I am now compromised in my ability to be able to see more fully what's really going on, and it becomes personal. And when it's personal, then I want to react. See, fear tends to react and love responds. And so what I've done over the years is I've practiced this simple idea that I'm going to assume the best of you. And when I do, and I don't take things personally, it allows me not to be hurt by negative comments people might say. Now, as those of you who know in the ministry, there's all kinds of things people say about us. So I've always told leaders that you're never as good as people say you are, nor are you as bad as people say you are. You're somewhere in the middle. So reality's somewhere in the middle there. So when people do complain or say negative things to me, and they have, and they will, and not all of them are evil intentioned, but they're not always good to hear. If I take things personally, if I assume the worst in you and take things personally, it leads me to two bipolar responses, if you will. I either am in despair or in depression, which leads to an offensive mentality that I'm going to take your thoughts and make them worse, like King Saul. I'm going to somehow pump myself up, or I'm going to react to you because fear is going to settle in, and I won't be responsive, I'll be reactive. Or it leads me to another posture, which is a little more passive, if you will. It's defensive, and in defensive, I'm going to react to you based on a fear. So the offensive side is depression and despair, which I'm going to pummel myself. The defensive side is I'm going to pummel you. And either one of those choices leads to disruption, disharmony, and most often, relational breakdown. If I can find a way to deal with the issue, because there are real issues to deal with, there are things that we do need to talk about, particularly in the season that we're in right now as a country, as a nation, there are things we need to talk about. But if we can somehow back away and remove that personal element that, now everything is somewhat personal, but if we can somehow remove that personal element that's connected to our woundedness, then it will allow us to see things a little bit more objectively and possibly respond. And if I can remove this idea that your intention is evil. So again, you've heard me say, and I'll say again, that we don't assess people's motive, we assess their behavior. I don't like your behavior or the words you say or said. Can you help me understand why you did that or why you said that? So if I assume the best, then I can hear your reasoning. If I assume the worst, then the only response I'm expecting from you is an apology, because I've already assumed your intent. You're guilty. And so would you consider today assuming the best in people? Would you consider not taking things personally until someone tells you it's personal? That's another Monday Mentor. if they do say it's personal, how do you bring about reconciliation and have conversation in the midst of that? And then while you're doing that, would you choose not to go to one side, which is depressive or despair, and pummel yourself and make this about how bad you are, how unloved you are, how this confirms every lie of rejection you've ever known as a child growing up, or go to the side of being defensive, that I'm just done with people attacking me, I'm just so done with all of this, and I'm just going to let you have it. Both of those would bring great pleasure to the kingdom of darkness, but not the kingdom of light. May you and I be light bearers today, particularly in this dark time. I just pray that you have a marvelous day today, enjoying the grace of our God and taking His love personally, but not taking everything else personally. God bless you.